Hello everyone, I am Professor Nayan Asne, Department of Information Technology, Parvatibai Ganba Mose College of Engineering, Wagholi, Pune. So in the last session we have seen the process flow of the Scrum, which contains the different stages. The stages was, first was the setup, second was creating the product, third was creating user story, fourth was creating a release, fifth was creating a sprint, sixth was planned sprint, seventh was track sprint progress, and eighth was your generator chart. So we'll see in this online session the Scrum roles. So what different roles are under the Scrum development process, who are the key holders or the key responsible persons. So there are three main roles in a Scrum process. The first one is the product owner, second is the development team, and third is the Scrum master. So the product owner is a stakeholder of the customer. So he is the responsible person to collect the requirements, to write the user story, to prioritize the requirement, okay, to order the requirement, so that we'll finalize the product backlog. So whatever features we need to add into the product, whatever features or the requirement are from the end user, so we filterize that requirement and we directly convert it into the product backlog. So that order requirements or that prioritized requirements are called as your product backlogs. So whatever features we are going to develop for the particular product is called as a product backlog, and from that product backlog we are taking some requirement for a particular sprint, which is also called as a sprint backlog. So the product owner is one person who is responsible who will ensure the teams that deliver a value of the business. Then he write the customer centric items with the rank requirements, which will be added to the product backlog. Then the Scrum process need to be one product owner. Sometimes he may also a part of development team. So what are the roles of product owner? So the important role of the product owner is to communicate with the development team, to solve the issues for the development team, or he can also change the requirements. He can also change the ranking of the requirements or the sprint backlog. Okay. He is the person who generally reduces the gap between the stakeholder and the team. So he can also demonstrate sometimes the solution for particular problems. Also he can able to, or he is responsible to announce the release of the product. So he is a main key holder who will communicate with the development team, who will state the requirement for the sprint for a particular product. So he is the one key holder, a stakeholder, who will always communicate with the team and the end users. So he may be a development team member. The product owner can be anyone. For the Scrum, one product owner is the mandatory. Okay. So he can also organize a different review, to review your product, to review your sprint. He is also responsible to educate the stakeholders in a development process. Also they negotiate the scope, funding, schedule. So he is the person who will do all these tasks. The second one is the development team. So generally they are responsible for delivering a product. Who is the development team? The team contains the different skill person. Sometimes they are some developers, they are testers, they are middleware developers. So the development team contains the skill persons. The size of the development team can be varied between 3 to 9 people or more. Than if the product or the sprint is large, then it can be extended to 15 also. So generally the team size is between 3 to 9 people. So they include the members like the analyst, the designers, the developers, the testers, the technical communicators, the document writers, and etc. So the development team itself is a self-organized, because there is a various skills which are present in a development set. So they are self-organized for the development process. The third one is the Scrum Master. Then the Scrum Master is one person who will facilitate the Scrum. So when to start the Scrum is totally the responsibility of your Scrum Master. He is the accountable for the product goals. So he is the responsible person to get a product goals and the deliverables. So he is not a team lead or a manager, but it is the buffer between your development team and the influences which will become under the team, or some distracting influence. So he is a middleware. He enforces the Scrum process. So he is the person who will always enforce the Scrum process. He generally involved in all the meetings, all the key types of meetings that are main meetings that always held at the higher level. So various challenges has been discussed, wherever requirements has been discussed, schedule, time, budget, all things has been discussed. So he is the one person who will always enforce the Scrum process. So these are the three main roles under the Scrum process. Now we'll see the Scrum technologies. The first one is a product backlog. As I have already told you what the product backlog is. Generally a order list of the requirement which are maintained for the product. So it contains the different details like feature, bug fix, non-functional requirement, and also whatever which is needed to succeed a product. It is always in a product backlog. So items from the product backlog are ordered by the product owner using the different factors, including the date need to be completed, the business value, the risk dependency. So the order can be discussed depend on what requirement are early needed, or what is main requirement, or which is the priority requirement. So depend on that the product owner will finalize the order of the requirement. The product backlog are written in a story format. As I have already told, always the requirements are in a story format, that is called as a user story. So it mainly contains what exactly need to be delivered. Also it contains the order in which the sequences should be delivered. The requirements listing and ordering that requirement is solely done by the product owner. So if some requirements are urgent, then product owner can request the Scrum team to change the priority of the requirement depend on what is required earlier. So the product owner is responsible for maximum value of the product. He is also responsible for maximizing the work of your development team. So product backlog is used for taking the request for the product modification. It includes adding a new facility, replace the old facility, remove some unwanted features, and etc. So the product backlog is nothing but, generally if you say in one sentence, it is the order list of your requirements which is maintained by the product owner. Next is your sprint planning meeting. So the product owner, development team, Scrum Master is involved in this sprint planning meeting. If required, outstanding beneficiary can be invited for the sprint planning meeting. If there is a requirement for the external technicians that are also invited in this particular meeting. The product owner will describe the highest priority work and communicate with the development team. Development team may ask some question if there are some doubt to the product owner regarding your requirements, regarding the flow, regarding any questions or the doubt or the bug they have faced earlier. So the sprint planning meeting is planned accordingly, in which the product owner, development team, Scrum Master are totally involved for solving and analyzing the things. Then this meeting is generally held at the beginning of your sprint. So generally they select what work should be done in this particular sprint. They prepare a sprint backlog from the product backlog, which will give the details of the time which will be taken for that particular requirement which we have selected. So they will discuss how much work should be done during the current sprint cycle. Then this meeting contains maximally the 8 hours. The first 4 hours is for discussing about the prioritizing the requirements and ordering the requirements from the product backlog, and the second 4 hours is for development team plan for the sprint backlog. So simple agenda for the sprint planning meeting is like finalizing the product roadmap, status of your development, name of the iteration, what name should be given, so velocity of the previous iteration, the capacity of the team, what are different concerns, some review to the previous work, what update should be done or any update to the requirement, some stories to be discussed, then commit. These things are generally involved in a sprint planning meeting. Third is your sprint backlog. So that are nothing but the work which need to be done in that particular sprint and which is already taken from your product backlog. So the list is delivered from the product backlog. It contains the list of user story in the sprint on the order of the priority basis. So the size of the sprint backlog is selected by the team. So the sprint backlog can be maintained using the spreadsheet. Then the next comes the sprint execution. So basically the sprint is the unit of the Scrum development. So the Scrum makes the series of the sprint. It may be one, it is generally more than one, because there are number of sprint which are planned for the Agile or planned for the Scrum development process. Whenever you are using the Scrum process development, the different sprint has been planned. So during this sprint, every day the project status meeting has been occurred, which is also called as a daily Scrum meetings. So every day you have the daily Scrum meetings, generally in the morning session, that will discuss what work will be what work we have done yesterday, or what errors they have faced, or what work will be done today, what is the agenda for the today, that will be discussed under the daily Scrum meeting. So the daily Scrum meetings time is just 15 minutes in the morning session, generally between the 10 and 11. So every team members must be present in a daily Scrum meeting. They discuss about what yesterday we have done, what we have faced, what challenges they have faced yesterday, and what work will be done today. So these things are generally discussed in daily Scrum meetings. So your next is a sprint review and retrospect. This meeting is generally held at the end of your sprint. That is your end of your particular sprint. Say suppose your sprint is of the 15th day, then this meeting will be held at the 15th day, and they will always review the whatever work we have completed in that particular sprint, and this work is shown to your stakeholders, that is the key persons for the project. So this all things has the part of your Scrum process. Some pending works has been shown, some pending work has been discussed, and they are moved forward to some other iteration, next iteration. So whatever pending work in the sprint is, the current sprint is, if it is not completed, if there is some error, we cannot deliver the work, then it is moved to the next iteration. Generally the burn down chart is maintained. Again I am repeating, the burn down chart, which will actually show whatever your actual work we have done and whatever we have planned for that particular sprint. So generally the work breakdown chart is used for analysis of your work, what actually we have planned and what actually we have completed. Okay. So this is all the terminologies which is used under the Scrum. So if you have any doubt, you can comment in comment section. Okay, thank you. We'll continue the next part, that is for the fourth unit. Just 4-5 points are remaining, so we'll continue in the next part. Thank you.